angry, and so is my next guest, the former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, author of the new book, They Killed Our President, 63 Reasons to Believe there was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK. So in the chair is Jesse Ventura. Welcome to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Piers. Always a pleasure.
So, has the government of the world's great superpower really shut down, or is this just some vast conspiracy?
Well, you know, they're shut down, and I guess my question would be, since the government shut down, that should mean we shouldn't have to pay any taxes, right? Yet, it's not going to work that way, is it? Even though they're not working, we're still going to be paying. I think it's time for a revolt in this country. I've been advocating a revolution for years now. Revolutions don't have to be violent, but we need one, and I would tell everybody here, vote them all out of office, and wait, don't vote in a new Democrat or Republican. Vote for anyone but Democrats and Republicans.
Well, it's quite interesting, actually, because let's take a little look around this room here, because I did a little sample. You weren't all hand-picked for any political persuasion, but how many people here are Republicans? So just a few hands. How many are Democrats? A few more hands. And how many are neither Republican nor Democrats? So you are the Jesse Ventura future of American electorate.
We are the majority.
But how much of that do you think, this is just a random section of people that pitched up to watch the show, but how much of this is down to just general dissatisfaction with the American political system?
Well, it's because the Democrats and Republicans have created this corrupt system, and they've been in charge now for 150 years. They've created a system that's based completely on the concept of bribery. If you pay them and bribe them, you get audience with them. If you don't, you're out the door. And so we need to get away from this concept of bribery. And that's why I'm considering making a run. But a couple things have to happen first. But I would run on this, ladies and gentlemen. My simple campaign would be this. I would give you the opportunity to elect the first president of the United States that does not belong to any political party since George Washington. He is our only president that belonged to no political party. And I think it's high time we elect someone that does not belong to these two gangs, because it's the gangs that dictate what's going on. This is all gang warfare here. This is gang warfare, where the gangs put themselves first, the gang's money first, and we, the country, become second or third. We're actually third in line.
See, every time I've spoken to you about this, I've been saying, no, Jesse, it's not like that. And yet their approval ratings plummet each time I've talked to you, even lower. And actually you end up thinking, yeah, they are a bunch of gangs.
They are.
Overpaid, underworked children.
Well, let's look at it this way. The big thing is health care, right? Well, in my last book, I showed you all. These elected officials have 4 options to choose from of health care. They won't give us one. Yet they get 4 to choose from. Now,
what do you think
since the government shut down, are they getting paid? Of course they are.
What do you think of Obamacare?
Do what now?
What do you think of Obamacare?
I don't think anything of it, because my belief is quite simple. We in the United States of America should have a policy that anyone who gets sick should be able to go to the doctor. Now, how they want to do it is up to them. But if we'd get out of all these damn wars, we'd have more money to pay for health care than we could shake a stick at. But instead, it's go to war, go to war, go to war. I love the reaction of the American people on the Syria deal. The calls were 300 to 1 opposing any more war. Finally, you're all waking up. Finally, you're waking up that we've been at perennial war for 60 years. Enough of this. Enough of this war crap.
Well, enough of this particular segment, but you're coming back after the break.
And let's talk about my book.
To speak more, Jesse Ventura, after the break. Back now with my official guest, Jesse Ventura. I mean, Jesse, you hit all the right populist notes with all this stuff, but let's get real for a moment. Is it feasible in our lifetime that you could have a candidate running for president who was successful, who was not a member of the Republican or Democratic Party?
I did it. I won the governorship of Minnesota and was not a member of the Democratic.
Could you do it on a presidential level?
Sure, if I'm allowed in the debates. But you notice those two parties control the debates. they won't let anyone else in them. If I can debate them, Piers, I can beat them. It's that simple.
Somebody tweeted me earlier saying nobody who wears tie-dyed shirts could ever be president of the United States.
Well,
What is your response?
My response would be then I guess a real person shouldn't be president, because I'm a real person. Do you know when I ran for governor, I never used a prepared speech?
Is that true?
Yes, because my belief is if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
You've written a new book. It's called They Killed Our President, 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK. Not new that there may have been a conspiracy to assassinate him. What is new about your book?
Well, what's new about our book is there's always new information coming out. There's always more and more. That's what makes it so intriguing to study it. That's what, to me, makes studying the Kennedy assassination more interesting than, say, reading a Vince Flynn book or a Tom Clancy book. Those are all fiction. This really happened.
So who killed Kennedy, do you think?
You can't answer that question because it's been 50 years and there's no way to say specifically who.
Well, I can answer it.
I can tell you this. Wait, I can tell you what I think. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, I think it was. And in fact, I interviewed a guy called Clint Hill, who was the bodyguard. If you see the footage of the cavalcade and the bullets coming, he's the guy that jumps on the back.
Yep.
He was Jackie Kennedy's bodyguard. Jumped on and
Why weren't Secret Service on the bumper that day? They were removed. You can go on internet.
That's
and
not
see
what
it.
he told me.
They were removed from the bumper.
That's
and
not
the
what
Secret Service guy turns to his boss and goes, "What?"
Jesse, here's my point.
And they took him off the bumper. Why did they change the way for Dallas only, the way the motorcycles were lined up? They put 4 of them way in front and the others all behind. They didn't go in the standard wedge, which was used in the 2 previous days before. But in Dallas, that changed. They got him out of the way to give a clear shooting lane.
Let me finish my point. Clint Hill, who was there and was on the back of that limo,
he wasn't on the back of it.
He jumped on the back of it.
Yeah, from a car way behind, and it took him how long to get there?
But he believed Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Now, why do you know more than he does?
Well, because of the fact there's a whole lot of information. It's so obvious when you read this book. I'll let you people be the judge. Read the book. It's so obvious. The Secret Service...
Who do you think did it?
The Secret Service protected Kennedy more after death than they did when he was alive because they illegally took the body out of Texas. Autopsy by law should have gone on there. Lyndon Johnson, the car was a crime scene. Everybody knows tape goes around a crime scene until forensic gets through with it. Monday morning, that car was in Michigan being refurbished, already moved.
Jesse,
no one was allowed to see the car.
Who do you think killed
There's multiple
JFK?
Choices.
Well, give me one.
Well, Kennedy made tremendous amount of enemies. The military-industrial complex hated him because he wouldn't go to war in Cuba. He was already withdrawing troops from Vietnam. There would have been no Vietnam War. Him and Khrushchev were actually back-channel communicating, and they had both planned on ending the Cold War by 1965. Khrushchev was taken out of power. They were doing it via Pope John in the Vatican. The Pope died, and Kennedy was murdered. We had the Cold War for 20 years.
So what does
the military
what does your brain tell you is the most likely?
Kennedy was going to take away the oil depletion allowance, which is what all oil guys use to make big money so that they can make $30 million a year and pay no taxes. So he had big oil mad at him. He had the military-industrial complex mad at him. Plus, he was doing the first move towards human rights in this country, which the South hated him for. So you've got multiple choices of many.
You've written a book about it.
Well,
what do you think is the most likely theory?
I think that here's the deal. There were 2 conspiracies that took place. The first conspiracy was the actual one to murder the president. The second conspiracy was to cover it up after it happened. Both of those took place. Now, you have separate players on both sides of that. Well, look at it this way. Read the opening, the Katzenbach memo that we opened the book with. Mm-hmm. This is from the acting attorney general. And he states, Monday morning, we must convince the people Oswald acted alone, that he had no one with him, and that if he went to trial, he'd be convicted. This is Monday morning before they've looked at one shred of evidence. The acting attorney general of the United States sends this memo to the new president. And that's exactly what he says is exactly, and they said, we need to form a commission to rubber stamp all this so that we don't have any type of congressional or other investigations. Woe be that we would have a real investigation.
Jesse, you're a straight talker. I've now asked you multiple times. You've written a book about this.
I can't tell you who
I've given you my theory, which is the pretty commonly held one. It was Lee Harvey Oswald.
He couldn't make the shots.
I've cited my source, who was one of the Secret Service detail who actually went on the car, and he says he acted alone. You've got 30 seconds left to try and give me a straight answer.
I can't give you one. I can't tell you who did it. I wasn't there. And it's unfair to ask a question. You think you've won the argument simply because I can't name who did it?
Yes, I do.
Well, okay, James Files was the shooter on the grassy knoll. He's already confessed to it in prison. You had the confession of E. Howard Hunt on my TV show, yet mainstream media said not a word about it. Hunt confessed, LBJ knew, he went right down the chain of command. It was called The Big Event. It was his deathbed confession to his son. Yet no
you've only given me so
media
far.
covers it.
You've only given me 6 reasons so far. There are 63 reasons to believe in this book. There was a conspiracy to assassinate JFK. As always, Jesse, you are a compelling talker when it comes to these things. I don't know how much I believe, but I love the way you tell it.
Read the book.
I urge people to read it. It's a good talking point.
Read
Good
it.
to see you.
All right.